The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith. Introduction. Why every penny tells a story. You wake before sunrise, pull back the curtain on a world humming with quiet deals and unseen currents. The neighbor delivers your morning coffee, just a black cup dripping warmth, but beneath that simple gesture lies an entire ecosystem of hands and choices. The farmer who grew the beans, the transporter who braved traffic, the barista who perfected your foam art. Each step ripples out, shaping not only your day, but the lives of thousands. I'm here to guide you through Adam Smith's timeless masterpiece, The Wealth of Nations. But this isn't dusty economic theory, it's a living tapestry woven into your every heartbeat. By the end of our journey through chapters 115, you'll understand how your daily habits, your purchases, even your dreams, connect to forces larger than yourself, and you'll gain the power to steer them. In the next few hours, you'll feel the thrill of discovering hidden gears in your routines. You'll meet characters from Lagos market vendors to startup founders who embody ideas Smith first penned centuries ago. You'll laugh at the absurdity of bartering livestock for shoes. You'll wince at the tension of underpaid work. And you'll rejoice when you spot the invisible hand gently nudging you toward opportunity. Sound lofty? I promise you, it's not abstract. This is your story as much as Adam Smith's. So grab a cup of tea, open a notebook, and let's start hunting for those invisible threads that shape your world. Daily motivation tip. Right now, write down one exchange you make today: a train fare, a text message answered, a chore traded for coffee. Notice how each transaction reflects deeper choices about value, effort, and trust. Ready? Let's peel back the curtain. Chapter 1. Division of Labor. When each person focuses on a single task, productivity soars, and so can your fulfillment. Have you ever baked a loaf of bread from scratch? Kneading, proofing, measuring yeast down to the grammage can feel thrilling until you realize you're wearing flour all over your shirt, cursing the dough as it sticks to your fingers. Now imagine a small bakery where one person masters mixing the dough, another becomes the shaping expert, and a third hones the perfect bake time. Suddenly, what was a 4-hour solo ordeal becomes a streamlined half-hour operation, with each baker feeling pride in their specialty. That's division of labor at its simplest, breaking a complex project into bite-sized pieces, each handled by focused hands. On the factory floors of Smith's Daythink pin making, where 10 workers produce thousands of pins daily, this insight revolutionized production. Today, it's just as powerful in our digital world. A YouTuber might script, film, edit, and market videos alone, and burnout is inevitable. But when they collaborate, assigning each role to someone passionate about it, the channel thrives. Emotional beat. There's a spark of joy and mastery when you finish a task and feel it glow with quality. Conversely, spreading yourself too thin leaves you drained, second-guessing every step. Real-life example. Meet Tunde, a Lagos cafe owner. He used to greet customers, steam milk, manage social media, and do the books all at once. Sales plateaued, and he nearly closed shop. Then he hired a barista whose latte art became a local sensation, a manager who streamlined orders, and an intern who handled Instagram posts. In 6 months, revenue doubled, not because Tunde worked harder, but because he embraced focus. Daily tip. Choose one micro skill to practice for 7 days straight, whether it's clearing your email inbox at 9 a.m. daily, a 2-minute mindfulness pause before lunch, or mastering one macro formula in your spreadsheet. Track your progress. Small wins build momentum. Personal prompt. Which part of your day feels like a dozen pins stuck together? What's one task you can delegate, automate, or let go? How might focusing sharpen both your performance and your joy? By the end of today, you'll notice corners of your life cluttered with multitasking. Claim one, carve out a focus window, and witness your own little productivity revolution. Chapter 2. Origin of Money. Money emerged to simplify exchange as trust tokens that let us trade without awkward haggling or impossible barter chains. Imagine you're a freelance graphic designer in Lagos and you need fresh yams for dinner. You could design a logo for a farmer in exchange, but maybe that farmer needs carpentry work, not design. Suddenly, you're juggling a 3-way swap: tedious, imprecise. Enter money, a universal stand-in that captures agreed upon value, letting you buy yam, sell your design, and keep life flowing. Smith shows us that early societies moved from direct barter. I'll give you 5 fish for 1 goat to coined money, distilled over centuries from cowrie shells to gold coins to paper notes. This liquidity freed people to specialize, boosted markets, and even fostered trust across distant towns. Emotional beat. There's relief in cash exchanging hand security that you've earned something tangible. Yet panic can strike when your wallet runs thin, reminding you how deeply we rely on these tokens. Real life example. Consider Ada, who teaches coding online. At first, she accepted service trades, one free lesson for home cooked stew. It was fun until coding students needed accounting help she couldn't provide. Switching to Naira payments turned her side gig into a scalable business. Clients paid consistently, she invested in better software, and her confidence soared. Daily tip. Track every Naira you spend or receive for the next 48 hours. Notice patterns, where trust drives your decisions and where you're driven by habit or impulse. Personal prompt. What do you truly trade for your salary time, creativity, risk? Have you ever felt trapped in a barter-like exchange, unable to convert your skills into the reward you deserve? How might thinking of money as pure trust tokens change the way you price yourself? Tonight, glance at your bank balance not as a mere number, but a snapshot of trust you've earned and a resource you can invest in your next dream. Chapter 3. Value and Price. Value lives in our desires. Price lives in the marketplace. Understanding the gap can transform how you earn, spend, and negotiate. Picture a collector hunting a rare vinyl record. To one person, that 1970s pressing is priceless nostalgia. To another, it's a dusty disc worth 20 Naira. The seller sets a price, but only an eager buyer with matching value places their cash on the table. Smith teaches that value in use, the record's sentimental worth, and value in exchange, its market price, dance around each other, often out of sync. Every day you face this tension. You decide if a latte is worth 200 Naira because of its taste and atmosphere, or if that price feels steep compared to making coffee at home. Your willingness to pay reveals your shifting priorities: comfort, status, or pure flavor. Emotional beat. We cheer when we snag a bargain that matches our perceived value. We wince when we realize we've overpaid on impulse. Real life example. Ola once sold handcrafted leather journals online. She priced them based on material costs plus a fair profit 500 Naira each. Sales were slow until she shared stories. The cowhide's origin, the artisan's craft, even snapshots of writers finding inspiration in blank pages. Suddenly, customers perceived more value in use and willingly paid 50 Naira. By framing her story, Ola bridged the gap between cost plus pricing and emotional value. Daily tip. Before any purchase today, pause and ask, am I buying utility, emotion, or habit? Jot that motive beside the price. Awareness is the first step to smarter spending. Personal prompt. Think of a time you overpaid or regretted a purchase. What emotion drove you? FOMO, impatience, excitement? How can you reframe your own offerings, your skills, your products, your time to better reflect the unique value you provide? Next time you negotiate it, be it a job offer or a freelance, rate two stories and context to shift perception of your worth. Tonight, pick one thing you bought this week and dissect it. Was the price aligned with your true value for that item? And tomorrow, let that insight guide a wiser choice. Chapter 4. Natural and Market Price. Every product or service has a true cost rooted in labor and materials, the natural price. But what you actually pay? That's the market price, shaped by demand, mood, timing, and even weather. Let's say you're walking through Yaba Market on a sweltering Friday afternoon. You're craving fresh coconut water. You spot two stalls, one's got it for 200, the other for 400. You hesitate, then grab the 400 one because it's cold, bottled, and you just can't wait. That's market price in action: convenience, timing, and emotional need, making you pay extra over the basic cost of harvest and packaging. Adam Smith pointed out that while goods have a natural baseline, what it reasonably takes to produce them, humans are rarely reasonable in what we pay. We pay with our emotions. If something's scarce, trendy, or tied to an experience, we dig deeper into our pocket 7 when the costs haven't changed. Real life beat. Imagine Sandra, who runs a small tailoring shop. Her regular dresses go for 7, 0 each, covering fabric, effort, and fair markup. But during wedding season, her bridesmaid gowns start at 15 0, same tools, same tailor, same hours. But high demand makes her art more valuable because brides don't want late deliveries or second best stitching. Emotional pulse. We love sales, hate being overcharged, and feel triumphant when we negotiate it down. But that dance between price and value, it's deeply personal. Sometimes we pay to avoid stress. Other times we pay for status, nostalgia, or even guilt. Daily tip? Pick one thing you buy today and break it down. What would it naturally cost to produce? What makes you pay the price it sells for? Personal prompt. Have you recently paid more just to save time or avoid discomfort? Where in your own work or service are you charging only the natural price while ignoring your unique market value? What could you offer speed, packaging, exclusivity that justifies a higher price? Remember, price isn't just math, it's meaning. You deserve to price and pay with intention. Chapter 5, Wages of Labor. Your time and energy have a price, a wage. But that price is never fixed. It rises or falls based on your skills, your leverage, and how valuable you are to the person hiring you. Close your eyes. Think of the first time you got paid. Maybe it was allowance for chores, a tutoring job, or helping your aunt run her store. That moment when your effort turned into money was your first brush with labor's power. Smith reminds us, wages are shaped by the tug of war between workers and employers. When jobs are plenty and skilled workers are few, wages climb. When workers are desperate and jobs are scarce, wages sink. It's not always fair. But knowing how the system works, that's your edge. Modern take? Adamu is a skilled welder in Abuja. For years, he earned a flat 30 monthly. One day, a friend showed him how similar workers were charging per project. He made a shift quoting per job, showcasing his speed and finish. Within a year, his income doubled. He didn't change skill, she changed the rules of engagement. Emotional pulse. There's pride in being paid your worth, there's pain in being overlooked, and there's quiet power in speaking upeven when your voice shakes. Daily tip. Identify one labor you regularly offer at work, in your home, or to clients. Are you being compensated fairly for it? If not, start the conversation. Not with demands, but with clarity. Personal prompt. When was the last time you confidently asked for a raise, higher rate, or fairer share? What belief keeps you quiet? I'm lucky to have this job, or I don't want to seem greedy. Who around you is earning more with similar effort, and what can you learn from them? Your time is priceless. Your energy is rare. Don't sell yourself short at home, online, or in the marketplace. Chapter 6, Profits and Interest. Profit rewards those who take the plunge: entrepreneurs, inventors, and builders. Interest rewards those who trust others with their money. Both are different paths to growing wealth, but each carries risk. Let's head to Ikorodu, where Grace just started her catering business. She borrows $200 from her kuzinto, rent a stove, buy ingredients, and print flyers. Her cousin asks for 10% interest after 3 months. That's interest a fee for borrowing money. Grace agrees, because if she cooks and books wisely, she'll earn $300 back. That extra $100, her profit the reward for hustle, risk, and resourcefulness. Smith tells us this: entrepreneurs risk their peace, time, even friendships to create something new. When it works, the profit isn't just money, it's validation. And lenders? They take a leap of trust. Their gain is steadier, quieter, but just as crucial. Real life beat? Jibenga owns a car. Instead of selling it, he lets a ride-hail driver use it, splitting weekly earnings. He's not behind the wheel, but he's earning collecting interest on his asset. Meanwhile, the driver earns profit by working smart. Both benefit, but their risks differ. Emotional pulse. Profit can feel euphoric, a bonus after stress, but it can also bring guilt. Do I deserve this? Interest is tidy, but distance you benefit from others' toil. Either way, money has motion. Use it wisely, and it grows. Daily tip. Today, list 3 small amounts you could put to work. Loan 5, 0 to a friend with a plan and agreement. Buy tools for your side gig. Save for something that earns more back, like an online course. Personal prompt. Are you a profit seeker or interest earner? Neither yet? When did you last risk money on yourself or someone else? What scares you more, losing money or never growing it? Let this chapter remind you, your money is not just for spending, it's for planting. Let it grow. Chapter 7, Rent of Land. Rent is the income earned by landowners simply for allowing others to use their land. It's a passive claim not earned by labor or innovation, but by ownership. Let's imagine you own a plot of land in the heart of Lagos Island. You don't farm it, build on it, or develop it, but a fast food company wants that corner for their next outlet. Suddenly, your land starts generating monthly rent, not because you worked for it, but because of where it sits and what others can do with it. This was Smith's point. Rent is different from profit or wages. It's not compensation for risk or effort, but a tribute paid by workers or businesses who make the land fruitful. And while some land is naturally fertile or well situated, much of its rise in rent stems from community progress roads, foot traffic, or nearby schools, things the owner didn't personally build. Real life example. A young teacher named Deo inherits a quiet lot in Lekki. For years, he ignores it. But as housing demand explodes, developers approach him. He now earns more in annual rent than in his full-time teaching job. Meanwhile, the builders and tenants do the real work, raising structures, improving drainage, running salons and boutiques. Yet, Deo earns passively. Emotional beat. There's a strange mix of awe and discomfort here. Awe at earning from nothing, but unease at a system that lets wealth multiply without input. Daily tip: make a list of 3 passive assets. You own skills, relationships, property, or even reputation. These might not earn income now, but could if deployed smartly. Personal prompt: is there something you already have that others might value even if you haven't monetized it yet? What's your opinion on earning income without laborious? It inspiring, unfair, or both? Could you create rent from your existing resources like licensing your photos, renting a tool, or subletting unused workspace? Tonight, reflect on what you're sitting on. Sometimes, growth doesn't mean hustling harder, it means seeing your assets more clearly. Chapter 8. Different employments of capital. Money, capital, can work in many industries, but not all offer the same return. The capital owner chooses where to place their bets, and those choices shape the economy. You have 1 million. Where do you invest it? A rice farm in Ogun? A trading business importing phones? A bakery expansion in Surulere? Each option promises different returns and different risks. Farmers face weather swings, importers juggle forex woes, bakers need foot traffic and loyalty. Where you put money reflects both personal preference and market reality. Smith divided capital employment into categories: agriculture, manufacturing, domestic trade, foreign trade. He noted that agriculture was often safest, land yields food, but trade could bring faster, higher returns at greater risk. Real life example. Lola, a caterer, saved up from weddings and was ready to expand. She could open a second kitchen or begin exporting spice mixes abroad. Her banker suggested investing in treasury bills instead. After weeks of reading and mentoring, she chose a spice export side hustle, high risk, but aligned with her passion. In 2 years, she built a customer base in the UK and grew 5-fold. Emotional beat. There's excitement in directing your capital where you place money, feels like planting a seed. But there's dread too. What if you miscalculate? What if the wind shifts? Daily tip. Pick a passion project or business idea you've had. Today, sketch a mini capital plan. How much would it take to start? What's the return time? Who else could you partner with or learn from? Personal prompt. What does your current capital, time, energy, money say about your priorities? Have you ever placed your resources into the wrong field? What did you learn? What sector are you naturally curious about, and how could you explore it with minimal risk? Tomorrow, set a 30-minute timer to research that curiosity. One small investment in knowledge can shift your capital's course forever. Chapter 9. Stock's role in production. Stock, or capital, exists in 2 main forms: fixed capital, tools, machines, buildings, and circulating capital, cash, inventory, wages. Both must be managed wisely to produce lasting wealth. Imagine you run a small juice company. Your fixed capital includes your juicing machine, your shop lease, your delivery bike. Your circulating capital? Fruit inventory, staff salaries, and marketing spend. The machine helps over years. The fruit stock needs daily turnover. Ignore either, and the business falters. Smith stressed that a growing economy depends on a delicate balance. If all your wealth is in fixed capital, like a fancy office, but no money circulates to pay workers or market your brand, stagnation hits. Yet, if you spend everything on short-term stock and ignore reinvestment, your tools wear out and progress halts. Real-life example, Jide owns a printing press. At first, he kept buying new machines with profits, but he delayed staff bonuses, skimped on marketing, and ignored software upgrades. Eventually, competitors with leaner operations took his market. Now, he balances, investing in one fixed asset per quarter and dedicating half his margin to staff and advertising. Emotional beat? There's safety in fixed assets, you can touch them. But there's life in circulating capital that keeps your business moving. Finding the sweet spot is both art and science. Daily tip: audit your life stock. Choose one of the following areas: health, equipment versus routines, career, credentials versus effort, finances, savings versus spending. Now ask, am I overinvested in the fixed, underfeeding the flowing? Personal prompt: in your projects, are you holding onto old tools while ignoring human capital partners, networks, or new skills? When did you last experience a liquidity crunch, and what did it teach you? Could you temporarily reduce one fixed cost and channel it into something dynamic? This week, tweak one routine to increase flow. Set a circulation day where energy, time, or money must be moved, not just saved. You'll discover surprising motion in your life and work. Chapter 10: Accumulation versus Consumption. To grow wealth, personal or national, we must save and reinvest more than we consume. But oversaving or overspending both carry risks. Balance is key. Let's rewind to your first side hustle. Maybe you made 30-0 profit selling Ankara accessories. You were thrilled, but what did you do next? Spend it on a weekend hangout? Save it in your account? Or buy better tools and fabric to scale up? Adam Smith stressed this pivotal tension. Consumption fuels comfort today, accumulation builds prosperity tomorrow. A society that spends everything it earns may be lively but stagnant. One that reinvests its surplus creates jobs, businesses, and innovation. It's not just about saving blindly, but saving strategically. Real-life example. Taye, a barber in Ibadan, once splurged most of his weekend income on drinks and fashion. But after tracking his monthly outflow, he set aside 30% to buy new clippers, repaint the shop, and offer deluxe beard trims. Within 6 months, his client base doubled. His small accumulations powered exponential growth. Emotional beat. Consumption feels good. We celebrate birthdays, buy gifts, indulge in comfort. Yet guilt can creep in. Should I have saved that instead? Accumulation feels virtuous, but delayed. Like planting a tree and waiting years for fruit. Daily tip: try the 50-30-20 rule this week. 50% of income to essentials, rent, food, utilities. 30% to personal, fun expenses. 20% to savings or investment. Customize it. Even a 5% shift toward accumulation is progress. Personal prompt: when was the last time you regret not saving or not spending? Which recent purchase brought you joy for more than a day? What's one small expense you could redirect toward growth, be it skill building, side hustle tools, or micro investment? Before bed tonight, journal one thing you wanted to buy today but didn't. Was it a sacrifice or a seed planted? Chapter 11: Colonies, External Growth, excerpted. Colonies, in Smith's view, acted like new territories for expanding capital and labor, but not without moral and practical costs. Growth wasn't always equitable. Smith recognized that colonial powers reaped gains by investing in foreign lands, gaining cheap labor, resources, and new markets. But he was also aware of the imbalance. Local populations were often displaced or exploited. Though dated in context, this chapter holds insights from modern economies about expanding outward responsibly. Real-life example, modern parallel. In 2025, a Nigerian agri-tech startup begins exporting yam flour to the diaspora in Canada. It sources locally, hires young farmers, and pays fair trade prices. Technically, they're expanding outward, but unlike colonizers, they grow with the community, not on its back. Emotional beat. There's pride in seeing your culture, business, or ideas reach new shores. But we must ask, who benefits? Who's left behind? Daily tip: think global, act local. Identify one area where your knowledge, brand, or product could serve a different audience then. Ask how to do it justly. Personal prompt. Do you export your skills, culture, or ideas in ways that empower others or just profit yourself? Can you teach or uplift locals as you grow outward? Who in your ecosystem deserves a platform or share of your success? Your next breakthrough might lie in an overseas market, but your legacy will be shaped by how you enter it. Chapter 12, Foreign Trade, Part 1, The Power of Comparative Advantage. No one can do everything best. Nations and people should focus on what they're good at and trade for the rest. Imagine you're amazing at baking cookies but slow at cleaning. Your neighbor, BC, is decent at both. Should you spend all day scrubbing or swap skills she cleans while you bake extra and share? That's comparative advantage. Smith argued that countries benefit when they specialize in their most efficient industries. Nigeria may have rich soil for cocoa, but importing machinery or tech services is wiser than trying to build them from scratch. Real-life example: a community in Osun grows the best shea butter. Instead of competing with big international beauty brands, they partner with them selling refined shea while focusing on farming and processing. They let experts in branding and distribution handle the rest. Emotional beat. There's pride in self-reliance, but there's also wisdom in asking, what do I do but stand? Who can I collaborate with for the rest? Daily tip. List 3 things you struggle with weekly, then match them to 3 people or tools that could support you. Trade, outsource, or co-create and watch your output soar. Personal prompt. Are you clinging to every role in your work or home life out of pride, habit, or fear? What's one thing you're world-class at? How can you make that your center? Who needs your strength, and whose strength do you need in return? Your life gets lighter when you specialize, collaborate, and release the need to master it all. Chapter 13, Foreign Trade, Part 2, Currency Flows, Balance of Payments. International trade isn't just about goods, it's also about money. When nations import more than they export, currency flows out. Too much imbalance can weaken the local economy. Let's say Nigeria imports laptops, cars, and luxury fashion, but exports mainly crude oil and cocoa. If imports outweigh exports for long, dollars flow out faster than they come in. That imbalance affects currency rates, local purchasing power, and even inflation. Smith called this the balance of trade, a key force in national wealth. He argued that smart nations use trade wisely, not trying to hoard gold, but ensuring their exports fund a healthy cycle of growth. Real-life example. In 2024, digital creators in Ghana earned over 12 M from overseas clients via freelance platforms. That inflow boosted the local economy even more than physical exports because it brought in foreign currency without importing costly goods. A coder's skill became a form of national export. Emotional beat. There's pride in earning globally, a sense of contribution beyond borders. But there's also anxiety when your country relies too heavily on imports and becomes exposed to global shocks like oil slumps or currency devaluation. Daily tip. Check today's Naira to dollar exchange rate and track it for a week. Note what triggers jumps news events, oil prices, policy shifts. Personal prompt. What percentage of your income is locally sourced? Could you export your talent through remote work, digital products, or content creation? Do you own anything that consistently loses value due to currency swings, e.g. foreign subscriptions, imported goods? What one move could you make to cushion your finances from currency shocks? By week's end, pick one dollar-based skill or service you could grow even in a small way. Globalize your worth. Chapter 14, Economic Development, Population. As wealth increases, population tends to grow and vice versa. Economic opportunity draws people in, prosperity attracts population. Smith observed that in thriving societies, more children were born, more workers migrated in, and cities pulsed with energy. Yet, he warned, if wealth concentrates in few hands or growth becomes extractive, inequality rises even as numbers swell. Think of a bustling city. Opportunity draws in talent, but it also strains housing, services, and culture. Balance is crucial. Real-life example. Lagos has grown by over 25 million people in 2 generations. It's a melting pot of drive and hustle, but also traffic, slums, and overstretched infrastructure. The same force that creates innovation hubs can, unchecked, lead to burnout and societal strain. Emotional beat. There's hope in being part of a growing community, like watching your town evolve, new startups pop up, or schools improve. Yet there's also exhaustion when rent soars, roads jam, or water taps run dry. Daily tip: get involved in one local development this month, a neighborhood cleanup, business forum, or volunteering drive. Growth isn't abstract, it starts with you. Personal prompt: is your environment growing in a way that leaves you behind? Do you feel connected to your city's evolution or alienated from it? What's one thing you could build, start, or fix to strengthen the community? Remember, economic growth is not just GDP's joy, health, mobility. Be a builder of the kind of growth you'd want to inherit. Chapter 15: Public Revenue, Taxes. Governments need revenue to serve the public, but taxation should be fair, efficient, and easy to understand. People should see value in what they contribute. Smith believed taxes must meet four conditions: proportionality, tax what people can afford; certainty, no surprises or hidden costs; convenience, collect it smoothly and logically; efficiency, raise revenue without killing commerce. Fast forward to today, and these pillars still resonate. The debate rages: tax the rich, VAT versus income tax, digital service taxes. Real life example. In 2023, Nigeria introduced a tax on luxury SUVs and imported champagne. Many cheered. Let the wealthy contribute more, while importers cried foul. Meanwhile, rising VAT on food items hit the poor hardest. Policy design matters. Not all taxes are born equal. Emotional beat. Paying tax can sting, especially if you feel it's misused. But when taxes fund clean water, public hospitals, or free schooling, that's a different story. Pride replaces resentment. Daily tip. This week, calculate your real tax footprint, not just income tax, but levies, data charges, VAT on every transaction. Reflect on what you get in return. Personal prompt: what public services do you depend on that taxes fund? If you could redesign the tax system, what would you prioritize: healthcare, youth jobs, security? Have you ever felt proud to pay tax or only frustrated? By month's end, write a 3-line letter to your government. Even if you never send it, say what you believe taxes should fund. It starts with voice. Conclusion: the invisible hand now in your hands. From the first Puff Puff ball sold at a roadside stand to the global surge in currency exchange rates, we've followed Smith's thread that wealth isn't cold math. It's motion, meaning, in the choices you make every day. You've now seen how division of labor sharpens excellence, how value dances with emotion, and how capital and trust flow like water, sometimes trickling, sometimes flooding. But here's the secret: you are part of the system Smith described, not as a passive consumer, but as a creator, negotiator, and navigator of your own economy. So, daily challenge: choose one Smith concept each day: division of labor, value versus price, wages of labor, public revenue, and take one small action. Delegate a naging task. Raise your freelance rate. Track a currency exchange. Thank a civil servant whose work improves your life. And join the conversation. Drop your biggest aha in the comments. Was it realizing you're underpricing your time? Or that you've been accumulating too much and enjoying too little? Share it. Let's learn from one another. Smith wrote for kings and merchants, but you've made his ideas personal. So go ahead, spend, save, serve, and so knowing that every decision isn't just economics. It's legacy.